Heroic stories, superhero movies, epic journeys and battles. I find the best stories, the most exciting, dramatic portrayals, the most profound sagas, are the ones where there's this struggle between good and evil, where the main characters have to go through perhaps great difficulties, making great sacrifices, even to the point of offering their life to save someone they love. They put themselves in harm's way to protect others. They're willing to put their own lives in danger to protect the ones they love from danger. And I think many of us might enjoy those kinds of movies or stories with heroes like that because we want to be like them. But often when we enjoy those are fictional stories. And so the question can be, is that kind of self-sacrifice, is that real? Or is it only in made-up stories? Can we act that way in real life? And so the question is, would you act that way? Would you come to the aid of another, being willing to put your life on the line? Maybe we can see parents doing that for their children. See someone protecting one of their family members whom they love. Or soldiers in battle doing heroic acts to save one of their fellow soldiers with whom they have formed that bond. The Bible reflects on this, saying, "Indeed, only with difficulty does one die for a just person. Though perhaps for a good person, one might find the courage to die." Maybe we would die for somebody if we loved them enough and they loved us back. But would you be willing to put your life in danger for someone you don't know, a stranger? What about somebody you don't like? Would you make that kind of sacrifice for them? What about somebody who actively goes out of their way just to be mean to you? Would you be willing to die for that person? And as noble as it might be for us to say yes to those questions, I think that many of us are not quite willing to do that. Sure, we might be able to see ourselves making sacrifices for somebody that we love, somebody who shows that love back to us, but somebody who hates us? No thanks. I'll protect my life. And maybe that's why, thinking like that, maybe that's why our world, and even us at times, may have a hard time understanding what really amazing thing that God has done for us. Because no matter how good we may think we are at times, if we stop and really are honest with ourselves, we realize, yeah, I'm not that perfect. We have flaws, sometimes deep flaws. We make bad choices. We fail to love. We sin. We turn away from God and do things that hurt Him, that hurt others, that tear down even our own families or harm ourselves. So when we're told that God sent His only Son, Jesus Christ, to offer His life for us, and if for a good person, maybe someone might find the courage to die, how could Jesus die for me? I'm not always that good. Can He die for us who sometimes make us His enemies? And Peter confirms this in the first reading. He says, Jesus Christ the Nazarene, whom you crucified. So that's the reality of it. You crucified, and I crucified our Lord. We're not always that good. And if we treated somebody the way that we treat others, or the way we treat God, we wouldn't expect them to offer their lives for us, because we wouldn't do that back for them. So how can God be willing to do it for me? But this is the good news. This is the good news of our faith, that God proves His love to us that even while we were sinners, Christ died for us. Because Jesus isn't like us. I'm the good shepherd, he says. A good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. Even if his sheep hate him at times, even if his sheep run away or distrust him or distrust his church, he will seek out his sheep, even to death. At times we might be like those hired hands Jesus speaks of, that when we see danger coming, we abandon others, abandon the sheep, protect just ourselves. But even if we act that way, Jesus is the good shepherd who lays down his life for us. He didn't die for us because we're good or perfect. No. He died for us because he loves us and because we're lost without him. And that's what it means for Jesus to be the good shepherd. And God really actually goes even further than that. That's not enough for him. He goes further. He says, I have other sheep that are not part of this flock. These also I must lead. It's not enough for Jesus to have those like us who happen to come to his churches, those that are Catholic, those that are Christian. It's not enough for him. Jesus has other sheep that may not even consider themselves to be part of his flock. But he lays down his life for them as well. Those who maybe know little about God, or those who may have rejected him, those who don't believe, or those even who maybe have done absolutely horrible crimes. He lays down his life for them too. Only with difficulty would we ever consider offering our lives for somebody who's good. But Jesus shows his love by offering his life for every single individual, regardless of who they are or what they've done. And that is indeed good news. It's almost unbelievable. And no one forced Jesus to do this. He said, I lay down my life on my own. He has that power. And from that power of freely giving his life, he gives us the power to become transformed. Those places in our lives where we act more like the hired hand, the acting selfishly in our own interests. In those places, Jesus desires to come and transform with his power, to enable us to become more like him. Because it said in that second reading that we are God's children now. And what we will be, we haven't quite seen yet, but we know that we'll be like him. That's his goal, is that his sheep become like the shepherd. To sacrifice not just for those who might choose to love us back, but even to love our enemies. Those heroes that we see in fictional stories and movies that place their lives on the line, those stories that can often inspire us. With the good shepherd to guide us, we too can learn to lay down our life